I've recommended two of our sister hotels in Bundoran, the Hollywood Hotel in Bundoran. Shawnee McAniff, my brother-in-law, he's bought it, and so has my brother-in-law in the Great Northern Hotel.
I would definitely recommend 3CX, and then I would also recommend Sensis as a company. They've been great so far. I think the reason we went for 3CX in a large part was the system's excellent, but we went for Ben and the team there. The support since, I know we are very happy with the guys. Everything, any question I've had so far on the system has been easily answered. Yeah, so my name is Darren O'Connor. I am the Sales and Marketing Manager here in Westport Woods Hotel for the last 5 years. It's a changing landscape with a lot of digital channels coming available to us now. We're selling like we've probably never sold before. The rates for people are more transparent because they can see them in multiple places. So there's definitely been a benefit with the cost effectiveness of the system. It's given us cheaper call charges right away. And I think then there's the big cost benefit of the whole thing is all the bolt-ons that come with it. So you've got the call tracking, the call recording, the clever routing of calls too, so that if someone's on the phone, it goes to the next available person. So you're able to answer the phone quicker for the customer. So definitely happy with that side of things. In my role as a sales and market manager, I suppose it's been nice to be able to put a number of calls that have been inbound. Guessing, and it was a guess in the past about what our conversion ratio was against a number of reservation calls coming in, and maybe how good we are at getting the sale. We knew we were pretty good, but I think it's given a real number to that. The remote working capability, I'm able to track the productivity of our people, definitely with the number of outbound calls. If we're doing telesales campaign, I can see that they're making a significant number of calls outbound, how long they're on the calls for, and all of that. So I think you're given peace of mind that people are out of the office, but they're still working hard, and I think that's important. It's important to know that. Staff adoption was very easy. COVID definitely played a part in that because we were working remotely, and we had been working remotely previous to that on the older system, and we were getting phones diverted from the office here to our personal mobiles because it all happened so quickly. When we got in the system, then we could route the calls to the extension numbers as they should be, and people were able to also dial out using the hotel's number, and it was just more professional. So straight away, I think that really eased everyone into it, as this was a great new system.
Well, I'm Michael Lennon. I'm the general manager and co-owner of this hotel with my wife, Joanne McAniff. We arrived in Westport in 1995, March 8th, I think, or 10th. But the hotel started, I think, in 95 with 57 bedrooms, and now we have 122. So we've doubled the size. We've built a leisure centre and a spa. I bought a second-hand telephone system in 1996 or 7 from Eircom, as was known then. It came out of Carrigan-Shannon. It was a business, digital business, I think. So it was the bells, whistles. I could record and Ringmaster was attached to it, so I could get all the information I was looking for it. And it was Meridian 2 system. It was the bee's knees at the time. I got it second-hand, but it worked, and so it replaced the digital system that we had in the hotel that was really not up to speed. So this time last year, I did a bit of Google searching, and I had been talking to Eircom, and I'd been talking to others, and we settled with your own company, and it had all the features and bells and whistles that we were looking for, and the reporting. We were getting back to where we were before YK2 with some of the reporting as regards lost calls and I suppose the mean time to answer it. Those were the kind of two big things that are important for telecommunications. And our whole distribution in the hotel business, everybody says it's gone internet, this, that and the other, and it probably is. 75% of our customers say that they see us on one of 20 websites that our name might be attached to, but what we forget is that most of them aren't really overly complicated. They're like myself, very lazy with bookings. We just get on the phone and make the booking. So the phone is very, very important, that it's answered quick enough. And if you can't answer quick enough, that you get back to the person if you've give them an opportunity to ring them back. So I think definitely the 3CX system has answered all of that.
We first met Michael and Darren in the Westport Woods Hotel in the summer of 2020. We went to visit them, and Michael and Darren knew that they needed and wanted a new phone system. When we surveyed the hotel, there was a typical setup that we would see in a lot of hotels that we deal with, and that's an analog PBX in the comms room with traditional ISDN and PSDN analog lines. And as part of the process, when we sit down with the hotel, it's to first of all survey the hotel for hardware and software, and it's also to do a line and bill analysis, and that's basically looking at what analog lines that the hotel have in place, what they're paying for and what they're paying line rental on. So the Sensis technical team mapped out from the installation of new hardware and software to the full migration and porting of the old numbers over to the new phone system. The plan was to change all of the front of house phones and also install soft phones that staff could work remotely. We wanted to bring all the bedroom phones onto the new 3CX phone system, but we didn't want to have to change the infrastructure or the analog handsets. We were able to do this through the use of analog converters, and with our integration with the HotSoft property management system and the integration that we've installed in many other hotels, we're now able to give that bit more of a personal experience by having the guest name appear at reception when they're calling down for service.
It probably took us a month or two to get everything bedded in and to get our reporting better. And there's still more development to do in the reporting. And I want to see continuous improvement in our answering. I don't want a 12-second answer, I want an 8-second, or I think yesterday 65 calls and the mean was 4 seconds. So I want to see that, and I get that report every morning on my phone, on my email. Last year, 52% of our bookings came through the telephone, so it's quite high still. Well, I tell you the great thing, I was up with my mother in Farnham last weekend, and I went to the Skyline, one of our sister hotel, in Drumcondra for 9 o'clock interview of a potential manager. And I took 5 calls that were all worth €1,000 a piece for family holidays between 9 and 10. And then I discovered that I thought my receptionist coming on at 10, and well, 2 of them were coming on, but one of them should have been taking the calls, but she had a problem logging on, so she was working from home. Definitely, I think it's taken pressure off them because of the looping system, and that we know the looping is working. It's moving. With COVID, we've had 4 or 5 people working from home. This is an excellent system to help transfer calls on that loop.
Something that I think is excellent for sales and marketers is the ability to use different numbers in different traditional forms of advertising like paper and radio, because you're very reliant on the receptionist or the salesperson asking, where did you hear about us? And maybe the conversation doesn't start that way and it's hard to build it into your chat. Whereas if you have a unique number per advertising paper, as we can do with 3CX, we're able to account for those calls straight away. So we know exactly how many calls we're getting from paper X and radio station Y, and we can begin to link that then to real revenue. And I think if you're looking at Google advertising or any of the kind of digital forms of advertising, the reason why we invest so heavily in those is because we're able to track the return and know that it works. And I think maybe the traditional forms of media will benefit from more of these systems being out there and people like myself and others being able to measure the return. The last, particularly 6 weeks, the phones have been much, much busier, and I think last year that would have been anecdotal, we would have felt it, there would have been a sense of it, whereas this year, the telephone system, we've actual numbers, so we know how many calls we're answering, how many were abandoned we didn't get to, and then we can do the follow-up then and chase them down. All our lost sales come into us via an email, so if we don't answer that call, it comes through and we know about it, and we've someone on the team that will follow it up and make sure that that customer is dealt with. So that's been a positive for sure, knowing that. It's been really good to be able to track the amount of calls going to each department. We know, for example, how many people want to talk to the leisure centre, and that could be about memberships, or with COVID about booking pool times and different things. The same with our spa, we're able to route the calls there and account for the number of calls they're getting, which is good, because you're able to separate the hotel bedroom sales from the leisure centre sales and the spa sales. So it's definitely been an excellent tool.
It definitely isn't costing me more than what I was with the older system. It's costing me less from the point of view I don't have the expensive hardware to replace. I have something that's in the cloud and probably better protected than what we had before. And I think that's going to become more and more important as we go forward with this whole cybercrime kind of thing, that we manage that in a better way, and this is helping that. So from that point of view, there's a return on investment straight away, because I'm more confident with the 3CX than what I had before. The whole area of the guest journey is so important, and it's from the time, just we were joking there about the initial buyer behaviour moment when they decide they're going to come to your hotel, whether it's the advertisement that you're involved in, or whether it's the reputation management, TripAdvisor, all of this, everything has to be fairly seamless and easy for the customer to understand what you're offering. Then they go and they'll inquire, which is one telephone call, or they go on the website and they'll get something. And so our pricing strategy has to be very transparent and clear as well.
We're very much looking forward to getting open here at the hotel again and getting customers back into the building. We have a huge building here. There's 122 bedrooms, as I mentioned before, and a leisure centre and a spa and some lovely garden areas. And it's particularly, I think, you'd feel for a lot of the couples that have had to postpone weddings, and we can't wait to really give them the day out that they've all been waiting for as well. So yeah, very, very looking forward to it.
Because of COVID, it's very much last minute at the moment, you know? And people are ringing around, and they might leave Dublin and they want a room at 4 o'clock that afternoon in Westport. They know they'll probably get it in the month of June, but I guarantee you, if this is going public, you won't get it in July and August. Book in advance, and not often. Book it in the one place, Westport Woods Hotel.
I'd like to thank Michael and Darren for their time, indeed all of our customers within the Brian McAniff Group. We'd like to wish them and the whole hospitality industry within Ireland the best of luck in the reopening to the public after COVID-19.